Hello, and welcome to another episode from the desk of a Navy wife, where you may or may not hear my kiddos in the background. My name is Raina Worthy, and on this podcast, we like to dive deep into the unique challenges, triumphs, and experiences that come with being a military spouse. So kick back, relax, make that cup of coffee, or get that evening dinner ready, and just listen to me in the background. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to bring to you today a guest speaker. Her name is Amber. So, Amber, could you please tell our listeners a little bit about you as well as how long you've been a military spouse and mom?
Hello, everyone. Hello, Raina, and everyone who is tuning in to this amazing podcast at the desk of a Navy wife. My name is Amber Duncan. I'm a military spouse as well. All right, I've been one for over 9 years. I've spent about more than 6 years of that time overseas too. So I'm with you. I get it. I've been there and everything in between. I'm mom to 2 energetic boys. I'm a dog mom, okay? And I'm a career woman as well. All right, I currently serve as the Supervisory Installation Marketing Specialist for Fleet Readiness aboard Naval Station Rota, Spain. So I'm excited to connect with you all today and just chat a little bit about things that I've learned, right, that have helped keep me grounded as we kind of just navigate this crazy, unpredictable, but oftentimes beautiful journey of military life.
Thank you again so much, Amber, for joining us today and being able to tell our listeners about empowerment as well as rediscovery. So I know that you and I in the past have had our conversations. We've had our talks with other ladies that we have met overseas about our journey and about being able to feel grounded. And so I really am looking forward to the insight that you have to provide our listeners today. So I am going to be asking you a list of questions. There's going to be about 3 questions that I would love for you to cover and be able to provide, again, your own personal experiences to our military spouses. So my first question for you, Amber, is can you share some personal experiences that shaped your understanding of the unique challenges faced by military spouses and stay-at-home moms?
For me, I feel like, the challenges really became pronounced when we traveled overseas, right? Obviously there's challenges. Wherever you are in the world as a military spouse and or stay-at-home mom, but when you move overseas, it can be exasperated, right? Having young children. I remember, my youngest was only a few days old when dad had to leave for an extended period of time. So, of course, the kind of battle through postpartum and just trying to stay afloat when you are kind of away from most of the things that bring you comfort and really give you that overwhelming feeling of kind of unconditional support. That was hard. But more so than, just dealing with the kind of the struggles with young children, sometimes when you're alone, it's really this path of rediscovery, right? And reinvention that I had to go through, that I still go through, that I think we all go through when we are moved, when we are changing duty stations. Again, this is more pronounced, I feel like, when you are overseas. But I know that it's something that we can all relate to. And it's hard, right? You are reinventing yourself. You are rediscovering social circles, ones that don't just fit because it looks good or it sounds good, but because it actually wholeheartedly feels good, right? Finding meaningful either work or hobbies that are actually meaningful for us, that get us excited, that we feel are actually contributing to our personal, professional development and growth. I had that challenge for a very long time. And it's something that sticks with me to this day. Because although, we support our spouses wholeheartedly in what they do and we want to see them succeed, we deserve to have the same, right? And for us, For you and I, that could be completely different. That doesn't always mean picking up the full 9 to 5 stack schedule. Sometimes that means having the mental and physical bandwidth to hone in on your hobbies and start that home-based business that you've been dreaming about, or simply making sure that the kids are set and enjoying a fulfilling social life that involves other military spouses, not only just to encourage each other, but to support one another and to add value to our communities, right?
Absolutely. I agree when it comes to that social life. And I love that you stated, that social life for ourselves, that social life for our children. There's a lot of times where I feel like us as spouses, if we do have children, and whether a military spouse or not, we run into this idea that, okay, well, now we're a parent. And so now there is no us. We don't have anything anymore outside of our children. And that is just simply not the case. There are, like you said, hobbies that you can get into. You can build a social life for yourself, especially if you're going to a new country. So thank you for touching on that.
I mean, the list goes on, and sometimes it's just enough to just be at peace, to feel settled, not just physically, because let's be honest, we are in a place in our lives, the military, where we may not feel settled every 2 to 4 years. Some things are changing, but like an internal sense of peace and comfort.
Yes, good point when it comes to that peace and that comfort. When it comes to the moving, like you said, every 3 to 4 years or 2 to 3 years, dependent on your rotation date, it's hard to feel settled physically, like you're packing up and you're starting all over again. But making sure you're settled internally, that right there, that like needs to be on the shirt. So go ahead and coin that out there. Being settled internally is just as important.
And knowing that although our surroundings are changing, we know who we are, and we know exactly the path that we need to stay on to get to where we want to go. But I think when we talk about, again, those unique challenges that a lot of us face, that process of rediscovery and really kind of honing in on who we are is a challenge that we face today and that we will continue to face, right, as we continue this lifestyle. But there are ways that we can redefine that for ourselves. The path is looking brighter than ever.
Yes, brighter than ever, especially when you're building on your foundation. So, my next question for you, Amber, we're going to dive into that constant relocation and how oftentimes when we make those moves, there is going to be that feeling that can come with it. And so what I'm speaking about here is that feeling of isolation. So my question for you now is, how do you encourage spouses to overcome feelings of isolation or uncertainty that may come with these frequent relocations?
I think it's important that we always anticipate that change in it. And although it causes us more anxiety in the beginning, I think it also helps reassure us in some way, like, hey, we're going to do everything that we can. Just no change is coming. And when it comes, we're just going to roll through it, right? Because at the end of the day, sometimes that's simply all that you can do.
Yeah, you're so right. In famous words of my husband, you just have to roll with the punches. And in this life and this lifestyle, I know it's definitely easier said than done.
It's all that you can do, right? We plan for what we can, everything else, let's roll with it. Let's roll with it, all right? Ask as many questions as you can. There's no stupid questions, because I know you probably can relate, right? You ask 5 people the answer to something, they're going to give you an answer. But on the 6th time, somebody's going to give you a completely different answer that just puts you completely left field.
Right. And it's usually when you've like gathered as many responses as you can, or you're trying to get everything aligned, when you go to ask those questions, and then that last one, like you said, it throws a curveball at you. And so I can definitely relate to that.
Every single time. But yes, that's for the uncertainty part kind of the journey, especially when we talk about logistics. But overall, when we talk about those feelings of isolation and connection, right, to uncertainty, that of course is a different game as well. I think on one end, when we think about isolation, we think about loneliness. But I challenge you to take advantage of the isolation. Don't always see it as, a thing that is depressing, right? That is sad. Isolation can be beneficial for all of us. Isolation can get you focused, right? It can give you the clarity to refocus on your personal journey, right? When we talk about the journey of rediscovery, and as you are moving and changing and reinventing who you are and who you are going to be on this journey of your life. But isolation, on the other hand, can, of course, have some downsides too. And that's when I encourage all of us, including myself, to get uncomfortable, right? Try new things. Go join a new hobby. You see a new group, just show up, right? Perhaps it's something that's interests you, but then there's a thought in the back of your head like, nah, I'm not probably going to do that. But try it anyway. Go and keep going, right? Foster those relationships, and you will be so glad that you did. It feels uncomfortable at first, doesn't it? It feels awkward. It's painful. We talk about social anxiety. That's there too, but that's okay. If you are not feeling uncomfortable, then you're not doing something right. Okay. Take those seasons of isolation, right? And feelings of anxiety, those feelings of uncertainty, and channel that into the journey of your rediscovery to greatness. Okay, it sounds a little cliche, but it's something that I have done, that I will continue to do, because without it, we're stalled, right? You're in the same place that you've always been, right? So here's to growth.
Thank you so much for sharing that insight. I know through the years, as we've gotten to know each other, it has been nice to see you be that social butterfly. And I personally would not have ever thought that you were feeling awkward in those situations or uncomfortable. It just seemed very natural to you. That's something that I admire about you. And I've enjoyed watching your journey and building that lifestyle in Japan, in addition to what you are now doing in Spain and creating those connections. So I have definitely taken that advice and getting to know you as a friend, and I have applied it to my own journey. All right, Amber. Now, with this next question, we're going to shift gears a little bit, and it's going to be speaking more to the world, I guess you can say, and sharing about your personal experience and misconceptions that may come along the way. In your experience, what are some common misconceptions about the lives of military spouses that you'd like to address?
And that's a tough one, because I feel like, yes, we are military spouses, right? Our spouses are likely active duty military, and we do face specific nuances, experiences, challenges that are not typical, right, of perhaps other spouses in other industries, right? I think that's safe to say. But when we have a conversation that talks about misconceptions of military spouses specifically, that just, I don't know, it doesn't give us enough credit,
No, right, absolutely. It's not easy at all.
because we are individuals outside of the career that surrounds our spouses, right? And don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful career. It can be challenging, it can be rewarding. That's our spouses, and we support them wholeheartedly in that. And we play a pivotal role in their success as the foundation of the family structure. Okay, don't get me wrong. But tell me about you. You know what I mean? Yes, I'm a military spouse, but I'm a wife. I'm just like you. I'm just like my neighbor down the street who's married. Her husband works for the post office and is working 14, sometimes 15-hour days, right? She has the kids by herself a lot, right? She travels alone. Okay, he travels. It's a hard life, right? For all of us, for all of us across the board. So I don't want to highlight too much about the misconceptions that we as military spouses face, because at the end of the day, we're spouses, right? Like just like any other. But I will say that, when we think about kind of the conversation between being a stay-at-home mom and perhaps a career spouse, that is definitely something to highlight, because, there are still some people who think regardless, we have it easy, right? Oh, we're living the life. We don't have to work. You know what I mean? Our kids, they can go to school, we can stay at home, we can take care of the house, we can go have wine dates, we can live our life, and that this is an easy life. Because that, my friend, it is absolutely not. Okay. So that is where I will leave that in regards to misconceptions of military spouses. We are amazingly unique, just like every other spouse that's out there, regardless if it's within the military, right, within aviation field, within, the government sector, within the medical field. We as spouses are exceptionally brilliant.
Yes, that we are very exceptional, unique. Again, this is all about empowerment and the rediscovery. And thank you again for sharing your insight with our military spouses, our listeners. My final question for you: what message would you like to share with military spouses and military moms who may feel stuck or discouraged about their current circumstances?
I'm with you. I am with you. I feel like I have experienced all the feelings under the sun during this military life. Gosh, I've dealt with postpartum anxiety, right? I've gained friends, I've lost them, right? I've lost my job while overseas, and I've struggled through that. Even arguments, right, with your spouses, and how that can just be exasperated through some of the work challenges that we go through. I mean, I've dealt with almost everything. But if I could offer you or anyone else who's listening a piece of advice, I would say live your life, be true to yourself. Don't feel like you need to put yourself into a box that showcases to everyone what, the perfect family looks like, what the perfect spouse looks like, right? We all want to do our best and put our best foot forward, absolutely. But be authentic to who you are. Be authentic to yourself, pour into yourself. Take time to hone in on the ways and the strategies and the opportunities that you can source that can elevate you. And if you can't find the opportunities, create them.
You for sharing that personal story about the struggles that you have gone through and overcome and things that you personally face, right? Being authentically ourselves and sharing that we are in this journey alongside these military spouses.
Talk about this journey of rediscovery and reinvention, because even though that there are some constraints, right, that we have or we feel that we have, because of this lifestyle, don't let it stop you. You can have the life that you want.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how lofty the dream or the goal is, put it there and etch at it, etch away at it day by day, whether it's accessing classes, right, online, and just refining some of your skills so that that even during these times, right, perhaps when you're not working, perhaps when you are at home with the kids, that you are still working and preparing yourself for the next level, all right? Get out there, explore, do something different, do something crazy, get silly. If you are overseas, look for opportunities to connect with locals that can connect with locals, whether it be via the hobbies that you are interested in, or via your children, or via a volunteer opportunity, just to get out and to experience the world in a different way that people around you aren't doing, right? What a blessing it is to be overseas or to be in a new part of your home country, and to try something different and try something new. Because these experiences that we have, through the triadic relationships that we form, through the new cultural experiences that we take in, right, from the new hobbies and passions that we develop, I mean, they blend with us, they create harmony. And I'm telling you, when we talk about that journey of reinvention, it is a powerful concoction, right?
Right. Very, very powerful.
It is a powerful concoction that creates just this elevated version of you that I'm telling you, it's unmatched. It's unmatched. So I challenge you to, even if you are struggling and you are having a hard time, push yourself, get out there, try something new. It'll be painful. You don't want to do it. That's okay. You go anyway. You try it anyway. You smile anyway. And eventually something's going to stick. Something is going to stick.
Yes, thank you so much again for that powerful and motivational conversation. It was very empowering, and even to just sit back and let you speak to our listeners about overcoming different challenges, about facing that isolation that will come, or those PCSs and transitions, and reinventing yourself is very meaningful, very impactful. And again, I just appreciate your time. It was so exciting to be able to interview you on this topic. And I look forward to bringing our listeners even more military spouses that talk about that reinvention. And I will also be kicking off an entrepreneurship series. So make sure you tune into that, listeners, where I'm going to be able to talk to other military spouses and kind of their journey with entrepreneurship and reinventing themselves. So thank you so much again, Amber, for your time and for kicking off this series. It was an absolute pleasure being able to have you on my podcast today. Again, we are talking about how we as military spouses can be very thoughtful and how we can go about empowering us as moms and spouses to create a fulfilling life. Thank you all again for tuning in this week. I look forward to bringing you resources, support, and laughter. Sending my love from the desk of a Navy wife.